صلى الله عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة وباب نجاة الأمة غريب يا مظلوم عطشان كربلاء سيدي إن لم يجبك بدني عند استغاثتك أو لساني عند استنصارك فقد أجابك قلبي وسمعي وبصري ما خاب من تمسك بكم وأمنا من لجأ إليكم يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. السلام على الحسين جميعا. السلام على وعلى علي بن وعلى أولاد وعلى أصحاب حسين خصوصا سيدي ومولاي قمر بني هاشم كفيل الهواشم. السلام عليكم جميعا يا شهداء كربلاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فويل للذين يكتبون الكتاب بأيديهم ثم يقولون هذا من عند الله ليشتروا به ثمنا قليلا. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. Please illuminate your hearts and bless this gathering with a very loud salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Dearest brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. In Shia scholarship, can we take from the hadith of the Sunni? Are we able to look into works such as Bukhari, Sunan Abi bin Majah, Muslim, Tirmidhi, Nasa'i, all of these literatures that compile narrations about the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and accept what's in there? We understand that we differentiate on multiple levels and multiple fronts. We also know very much that there are narrators who claim to have heard the Prophet, who we vehemently defy, who we, without a shadow of doubt, cast judgment on, whether it was because of their defilement towards the Ahlul Bayt, going to war with the Ahlul Bayt, disrespecting the Ahlul Bayt. For a whole host of reasons, we categorize groups and individuals that are revered by the school of the non-Shia as not worthy. Look, to me, it's quite obvious. If you fought Ali ibn Abi Talib, I'm not interested in hearing anything else you have to say. And this includes whether it's in Jamal, Siffin, and Nahrawan. The odd thing is, those who fought Imam Ali in Jamal, Siffin, and Nahrawan, the funny thing is, Nahrawan is a battle of Khawarij. So note that down, that there are Khawarij that are narrators of hadith indeed. Those who raise swords to remember, when you fight Ahlul Bayt, it's not just one man. You wanted to see Imam Hussein's blood spilled, and Al-Hassan, because he was also fighting alongside his father. So in this juncture, when I see people like Talha, Zubair, Muawiyah, Aisha, figures as these, and I hear them report something has to come to mind. Is it because I hate the person, I despise X, I don't like what they did, that I refuse anything they have to say? Or is it because they genuinely did not report something accurate? Because there's a difference between someone who is unworthy, who has no worth, unworthy of respecting, saying something, but they're saying something that's true. Because the funny thing is, many of the killers of who? Of Imam al-Hussein in Karbala, they tell us what happened to Imam al-Hussein. So now you have a funny moment where Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, 5 years later, catches the first he catches are the 10 horse riders. Ya khuyul Allah, irkabi wadusi ala sadr al-Hussein, salawatullahi alayhi. He catches these ones. And then he tells them, what was your role? And they begin to narrate. Funny enough, we start saying, okay, thank you for that detail, ya mal'oon. Harmala bil kahil, have you ever thought about the details of the masa'ib of al-Radi'a? The 3-pronged arrow, the heat. Who could narrate this to you except the person that was in charge of making this happen? So on one hand, we can accept ahadith, it appears to be the case, from those who we despise. On another hand, there are people in the life of the Prophet, companions, and we don't doubt that they are companions, because sometimes people like to reduce people because they feel that I despise you, so I won't even give you a title like Sahabi. That means that's an intellectual fallacy. Sahabi means companion, but does that mean worthy of merit, respect, love, holding you to a high pedestal? Not necessarily. A sahib is someone that's next to you. قِيلَ يَا صَاحِبَيَ السِّجْنِ أَأَرْبَابٌ مُتَفَرِّقُونَ خَيْرٌ أَمِ اللَّهِ الْوَاحِدِ الْقَهَارِ. Yusuf says to the mushriks that are with him in jail, calling them sahibay, my 2 companions. So a sahabi can be a mushrik. وَلَا تَكُنْ كَصَاحِبِ الْحُوت. Don't be like the companion of the whale. A whale can be a sahabi. Sahabi doesn't denote that their words are the gospel truth of whatever they say was the genuine report of the Prophet. So that we have to recognize that despite how much you might despise figures like Harmala, like Muawiyah, like these people, Harmala is not a Sahabi. You know the funny thing is, there was a Sahabi who killed Imam al-Hussein or participated in Karbala. He met the Prophet, he became Muslim, and he fought Imam al-Hussein. Now if you ask many of those who come from the worldview of the school of the Sahaba, and this is not to be sectarian, they'll tell you all the companions are deserving of merit and respect. What about Shabath ibn Rib'i? Shabath ibn Rib'i in the Maqatis say he participated in the killing of Sayyid al-Shuhada. By the way, Shabath ibn Rib'i, he I think hit the Guinness Book of World Records for how many times a person has changed his aqeedah. First, he was with Quraysh fighting the Prophet. But that's many of the companions who then embraced Islam. They probably weren't born on Hidayah, so that's fine. Then he joins the Prophet. So he made one change to another. Then when the Prophet died, he joined Musaylama al-Kadhab. So this was a movement where a man claimed he was a prophet by the name of Musaylama. He wrote to the Messenger of God, Ya Muhammad Rasulullah min Musaylama Rasulullah, let's split the earth in half. You take one side, I take the other side, and we're both prophets. You good with that? The Prophet replied back, Min Muhammad Rasulullah ila Musaylama al-Kadhab. Look at the stern, firm language that the Prophet had. This is something nonsensical, and Musaylama died. But who joined him after leaving Rasulullah? Shabath ibn Rab'i. So he goes from one change to another, to another. Musaylama left Islam. He goes and joins a lady by the name of Sajah. Sajah was a prophetess claimant. Because after the Prophet died, a lot of people claimed that they were a Rasul because they saw how successful Rasulullah was. So they said, maybe I'm cut out for this because look, he built an empire. Let me claim that I'm a prophet as well. There was a lady who called herself a prophet. Sajah. Shabath ibn Rab'i. So weird. He was the mu'adhin for Sajah. And he stole the adhan. So if you're going to make your own deen, get your own bloody adhan. It would be Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Sajah Rasulat Allah. He would claim that I bear witness that Sajah is the prophetess of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Sajah failed. She, by the way, Sajah, Khalid ibn al-Walid, he chased her with an army. And then she said, no, I embrace Islam. Basically to save her life. So they said, khalas, you became Muslim. And she lived on the rest of her life. What's his name? Shabath ibn Rabi has a problem though. Because he was on her deen and his prophet left the deen. So what does he do? He has to go back to being a Muslim. Shabath goes from Quraysh to Islam. From Islam to Musaylama al-Kadhab. From Musaylama to Sajah. From Sajah back to Islam. So now he's back to Islam. How many turns and flips are this? It's like 5 so far. Guess what happens? When Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam rises, he joins Imam Ali in the battle of Jamal against Aisha. He then joins Muawiyah against Imam Ali in the battle of Siffin. He leaves Imam Ali, joins Muawiyah. He leaves Muawiyah and joins the Khawarij. He's just going with whoever wins. He goes and joins the Khawarij. The Khawarij, Imam Ali beats them up. And then he goes back and joins who? He joins Muawiyah. Muawiyah dies, he joins Yazid's forces. Shabath, by the way, is now like 90 years old. Shabath ibn Rabi'i. He joins Yazid to fight Imam al-Hussein. Afterwards, Imam al-Hussein is a shaheed in Karbala. This is a so-called companion, which he is, but not upright to any capacity. After the events of Karbala, you have the movement of Mukhtar. Guess what Shabath does? He joins Mukhtar to find the killers. Mukhtar is like, come here. No, you don't go far from me. We know about you. Because we know people, eyewitnesses, who talked about you. And Mukhtar kills him. So this is a Sahabi. But just because he's a companion doesn't mean anything. We said on one hand, a Sahabi can be a mushrik, it can be a whale for goodness sake. And it can be someone like Shabath. In this religion, you earn loyalty and respect based on what you do and contribute, and you're khatima with Ahl al-Bayt. It's not about how you start, it's about how you end. In this context and in this juncture, can we accept narrations from the non-Shia based on scholastic Shi'i heritage? We find a couple observations. If the hadith, brothers and sisters, matches and synchronizes with our ahadith from our reliable literature, we can accept it. Like what? Which hadith and ahadith do we share as Shia with non-Shia? And I would love for everyone, inshallah, to memorize some of these, because these are moments of unity that you and I can agree. Yes, I've been saying a lot of things that we differ, a lot of people who I hate, who you maybe love, out of akhlaq, out of social taqiyya, which is something our ulama spoke about, by the way, that have respect for those who revere people who you despise. It doesn't mean that you go straight to them and insult someone. To him is like Ali ibn Abi Talib to you. Rather, in order to maintain some form of harmony, you have to have social taqiyya. This is only for purposes of living together. Otherwise, we unite on many fronts. One of the things we unite on is what? Some ahadith. Like what? Sahih Bukhari might narrate hadith al-Kisa, which it does. So can we unite on that one? Yes, of course we can. Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim might have, for example, the hadith Al-Mahdi min Wuldi Fatima. Beautiful. That you and I agree on Sahib al-Zaman. You and I agree on the fact that he's from the line of Sayyidah Zahra. On hadith al-Kisa, there are hadith, the way we can accept them is if we can see they have a trace in our literature. Otherwise, brothers and sisters, there is a great deal of issue when we look at some of the details regarding the way the literature was compiled, especially using the political climate as influence. We mentioned the other night the Muwatta of Malik ibn Anas, one of the 4 madahib of our brothers and sisters. May Allah bless them and protect them from Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. One of them is Malik ibn Anas, Maliki school of thought. Malik ibn Anas' main magnum opus is what? Is the Muwatta. Abu Ja'far al-Mansur al-Diwaniqi commissioned him to write that. It wasn't because of his genuine, sincere, I want to compile ahadith. Because as a result, Abu Ja'far al-Mansur al-Diwaniqi told him to not include whose ahadith? Not one hadith by Imam Ali. Adri Imam Ali, 30 years, did not narrate a single hadith for you to include it. That's because the Hakim hates him. Al-Madhab ma'a man ghalab, as we all say. The deen, the sect, is with whoever wins at the end of the day. And that's why history is his story. Sorry, sisters, it's not her story. Because these patriarchal, vicious dictators, they get control and they'll, change this, add this, do that. In this context, brothers and sisters, it's important and of the highest importance, actually. As Muslim Shia lovers of Ahl al-Bayt, we understand where other worldviews are coming from for a whole host of reasons. I'll go through them quickly. The first is you deal on a daily basis with the non-Shia. And it's important to understand where they're coming from so that you don't live a life of ignorance. They say ignorance is bliss. It's not. It really isn't. Don't live a life where you don't know why people have opinions and how come they're used as leverage at times. It's important we understand because the opposite knows our works really well, by the way. And so in this context, brothers and sisters, one of the most important books, I'll actually say it in this case and in this manner, one of the most important books in history, I'm not even lying, in history nor exaggerating, is Sahih Bukhari. I said important, I'm not adding anything else. Important, why? Because 3/4 of the Muslim world, and how many Muslims are we in the world today? Did you see the data recently? About 2.1 billion. Allahu Akbar, that's a lot. 2.1, Allahu Akbar indeed. 2.1 billion Muslims. 3/4 of them revere this book. You would think it's important to study and look at, even though I may not agree with the author, a lot of the narrations and how it works. But here's a quick snippet. Muhammad bin Ismail al-Bukhari was born in Bukhara, Persia, modern day Uzbekistan. And he has a haram, by the way, ironically, because there's a hadith in his own work, it's haram to build but still, whatever, you can get what you made halal for you and haram on others, but it's okay. He has a haram, people can do his ziyarah. Muhammad bin Ismail al-Bukhari was born around 197 of Hijrah. That makes him alive in whose time, by the way, if you're familiar with the timeline of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. Salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhim ajma'een, al-Imam al-Hadi wal-Askari wal-Jawad. So you're alive during that time. It would be imperative that you seek your ilm and your hadith from manba'ul ilm, mahbit al-wahi, Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. No, he doesn't. So what he does is he is born in this climate and he begins to travel the world as any thinker and scholar and muhaddith does. Because back then, they didn't have the luxury of ChatGPT in your hands. They didn't have Google. They didn't have Wiki. They didn't have these resources. So they literally would have to traverse the world and travel. He went. This is, by the way, found in the Muqaddimah of Bukhari. So when you open the epilogue, you open it and you find the journey. He begins to tell you that I strived and I traveled to Egypt. I went to Iraq, Baghdad. I went through all around Persia. I went to Mecca. I went, some might even say Yemen. I went all around the world to collect a hadith, because hadith of the Prophet were floating. And someone has a narration written down and they tell you the chain that goes back to, I need to see that. I can't just call you, I have to go and grab it from you. And so he did all this. He claims, ready? That he collected, are you ready for it? 600,000 hadith. That's a lot. That's great, mashallah. 600,000 hadith. Sahih Bukhari has about 7,000 hadith in there. So where he collected 600,000 but only has 7,000 is interesting. He's filtering them. 7,000 hadith in Sahih Bukhari after refining them from 600,000, 7,000 in Sahih Bukhari after refining them from 600,000 minus many of the ahadith that are repetitive. What do we mean? There are ahadith, they have the same narration, just a different chain leading back to it. So he'll still include it. In this context, you remove any repetitive hadith, it goes down to about 2,650 hadith. Individual, unique style of hadith. Each one is unique. One sahabi saying, I heard from Rasulullah. The top 4 narrators of Bukhari are number 1, Abu Hurairah. Number 2, Anas bin Malik. Number 3, Aisha. Number 4, Abdullah bin Umar ibn al-Khattab. These are the top 4 narrators of all the sunnah of the worldview of the non-Shia. So he goes down from 600,000 to 7,000 minus the repetitives, 2,650. You think it's a mashallah good effort, but look at how he says he went through the process that today is shaping the world. Because of this book, so many people and Islamophobes and genuine, sincere Muslims genuinely believe the Prophet married a 6-year-old. A 6-year-old. Many believe the Prophet stood up and would take care of business. A'yadhu billah. Many believe the Prophet frowned at a blind man. And you tell them, Baba, there's another hadith that's not saying this was the Prophet. It was someone else. Abasa wa tawalla and ja'ahul a'ma. This was someone else. They'll tell you, how dare you say it was X someone else, because he's a Sahabi. But when you tell them this is the Prophet, they'll, yeah, it was the Prophet. So you are willing to accept the Prophet has bad akhlaq, frowning at blind people asking for help. But when I tell you there's a hadith that says it's Uthman ibn Affan, by the way, there's an alternative that you know, oh, that's a good companion. Where are your proportions? Where are your priorities here? He says that after collecting 600,000, he died at 60 years old. he became blind in the latter half of his life. Is that a little bit of a variable you might have to consider? He says, I would never scrutinize and study a single hadith except if I did a couple things. Number one, wudu. Number two, 2 rak'ah salah. Number three, istikhara. Number four, then I study the hadith. Did you do that for 600,000? How long would that take you? How long? That you, number one, pray rak'atain as for barakah. That's a beautiful thing. Before you do any act, before you do anything, I know many speakers, they take the khira very seriously when it comes to things that I don't think is necessary. Like for example, if I should go recite in this majlis, let me do istikhara. Istikhara is if you're only 50-50. وَالْخِيرَ عِنْدِ الْحِيرَ. In this case, why are you doubtful if you should do something good? If it's something good, go do it. You don't need Allah to tell you go do it. Allah's already told you do the good. سَابِقُوا لِلْخَيْرَاتِ. In this context, he would pray, do istikhara, then study. Let's just say 30 minutes. Because you're studying a hadith, you're looking at the chain. Between Bukhari and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi are about 9 individuals. So he would report, I heard from my teacher, who took from this teacher, who took from his, leading back to one of the companions who heard from Rasulullah. The average is about 9. Sometimes it's a bit less, and sometimes it's a few more people. This is what we call the chain. If these individuals, these 9, 8, or 10, if they're reliable, that's a good hadith. But there's more needed in order to still be a great hadith, which we will talk about in a minute. It's called tawatur, consensus. If it's just one hadith, that's called ahadith ahad. Do you know what that means? Singular report. They could all be reliable, but it's why are you the only group of people that narrated a moment in the life of the Prophet? What, there was no one else that saw this happen? Which gives you a bit of doubt or speculation that if it happened or not. That's why many in the houses today study the science called حجية الخبر الواحد, the authenticity and legitimacy of a singular report. Can خبر الواحد يفيد الحجة أم يفيد الظن? Can it feed suspicion or can it صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Can a singular report, brothers and sisters, يعني when it rains it's okay, these things happen. يلا صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Listen, for me, what's important is the mic still works. I don't care about anything else. Does it hurt? Does it work? No, I'm happy. That's all. Who cares about TV, this and that? You guys can see me. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. A singular report is like what? Have you ever heard of the game of telephone? When you tell someone something, a sentence, and you tell that person to pass it down to this guy. So we have mashallah mu'mineen sitting right here. Many of the mu'minat. Imagine the mu'minat, one sister goes here and says, I'm going to tell you something. Just say, I would like a glass of water. By the last sister, it's like, I want some boba tea. What happened? Someone misheard, human error. These things can happen, right? Or for example, try this. If your mom lectures you, big lecture, big khutbah, and then she says, by the way, tell your brother everything I said. She's really trying to instill the lesson. Maybe someone made a mistake, maybe someone forgot to put something back, and she's like, tell him every detail that I said. Are you going to actually say every detail? You're going to probably use filler words. She might have said, for example, I said put it back in the cupboard, and you just left that out. And then when you talk to your brother, every word I'll tell him, don't worry, mama, stop hitting me. He goes to the brother, and he's like, hey, she said put it back in the drawer. It's the same kind of ma'na, just put it away, but filler words were used, right? This is called a hadith that has been reported singularly. Now imagine if you give it to 9 people, between Bukhari and Rasulullah's 9. So what, all people are going to narrate exactly to the T, especially sermons. That's why what helps us is what? If there is what? Tawatur, meaning consensus. One of the biggest mass reported in transmission ahadith are what? Hadith ghadirhum. And it's not a surprise that one of the most important events in world history, by the way, let alone Islamic history, has been reported through a chain of tawatur. Guess how many? 30,000 at least different chains. That's something undeniable. So they won't deny the event. What will they deny? Mawla means this. Wali means that. They'll deny meanings, but they can't deny the event. It's as clear as the day A sun on a cloudless day. They can't deny the event of Karbala because 30,000 of the opposition did something and they saw it. It's obvious, right? But what can they deny? You know what? It was not for this reason. He wanted hukum, and that's just what happened. But they can't deny it, so they'll give reinterpretations. When it becomes a singular hadith, that's when it becomes a problem. Guess what? How many akhbar ahad are narrated in Bukhari? If we said it comes down to 2,650 singular as an individual ahadith, half of them, about 1,600 of them are akhbar ahad. Akhbar ahad. I mean, you have to calculate human error. Some might say to us, well, okay, antum, you Shia. And if they're really unhappy, you Rafida. You got akhbar ahad in your Bukhari, in your man la yahdharuhu, in your tahdib, in your istibsar. Also in your bihar, it's a sea of akhbar like this. So who are you to point? I agree. Good thing I didn't slap the title Sahih on my book and beholden to every and any single narration there. Is that necessarily a bad thing, by the way? That I may not necessarily find a book that is 100% Sahih. That is a discussion, inshallah, in a few moments we'll talk. On this basis, brothers and sisters, he would take about 30 minutes of his day to study one hadith. Okay, how many narrations did he find in his life? Who remembers? 600,000. He says he has to pray, he has to do istikhara, he has to then study and scrutinize the hadith. Okay, and study, is each report authentic? Is each narrator leading back reliable? So he has to study the biography of each one very quickly. Let's just be generous and say it takes 30 minutes. It takes longer. 30 times 600,000. You know what that is? 18 million minutes. That's 32 years. How did you say that you did this in 16 years? He has that claim in the book in the beginning that it took me 16 years to study 600,000. I would first do rak'atain salah, then do istikhara, then study it, then see whether or not it's worth including it in my authentic material. If it at least takes you 30 minutes, that's 18 million minutes to go through 600,000, which means 32 years. You were blind half of your life and you died at the age of 60, but you're claiming you did it in 16 years. The math ain't mathing, ya habibi. So something's off. Let's just say in some miracle, let's just say in some mu'jizah, that happened. Maybe he had access to ChatGPT back then and we didn't have access to it. I respect the fact that maybe you did something profound, interesting, good job. I don't care how you did it. Let's just see what happened. There are a couple issues for us here. The first issue, my dear respected brothers and sisters, is the censorship found in Bukhari. This book that is really respected, and I can respect those who respect it, but I won't respect it. I respect those who respect it. But that doesn't mean I'm bound to respecting it. It has narrations, it has traditions that have a lot of censorship. What do we mean? Censorship is what? When someone deliberately hides the truth for agenda, political motivation and purpose. That's censorship. A government might say, hide what just happened. People will question us. There's a lot of censorship in this material. In fact, Muslim ibn al-Hajjaj al-Naysapuri, otherwise known as the author of Sahih Muslim. By the way, he's from Naysapur, Iran. The other one is from Bukhara, Persia as well. And they tell us your deen is a deen of Persians, whatever. First of all, who cares what race? Why are you so racist? Number two, I mean, mashallah, a lot of your reporters and narrators are all Iranian, for last I checked. Barely, none of them are Arab. In this case, in this juncture, he is Bukhari's student. So the author of Sahih Muslim is the student of the author of Sahih Bukhari. The student, you would imagine, as a student, you would take from your teacher, right? He narrates 0 ahadith from Bukhari. Sahih Muslim has no hadith starting off, I heard from my teacher, Muhammad bin Ismail, which is odd. Why? If you look at and cross-examine the ahadith of Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, you will find that the authors of Sahih Muslim is a lot more sincere when he reveals the hadith, because his teacher Bukhari does a lot of censorship. This is not pejorative, wallah. It's just here is literature and here is a discussion regarding historicity. When we study analyzing history, I'm not gonna make you feel better because you respect something so much by denying academics. I can't do that. I'm not going to play to that game. Like how I don't look at someone and say, hey, like one of my professors, you're a Z-zer. It's a lady. I'm not going to joke around. You're a lady. She says, no, call me a Z-zer. So what can I do? On one hand, you want her to supervise your PhD and your dissertation. On the other hand, you don't want her to kick you out because of discrimination. So I'm like, listen, I'm going to call you professor. I'm not going to entertain foolishness. What do you mean you're a Z? Z's coming. Zer is over there. Baba, I said, this is child play. If you don't want me to call you something, okay, but I'll call you doctor, I'll call you professor. Academics just needs to be recognized at least. Muslim says, Bukhari hid and censored a lot of hadith. I can't do that between me and God. So he shows the full detail that Bukhari has but covers. Like what? We keep saying hiding. The event of Raziyat Yom al-Khamis. Are you familiar? The calamity of Thursday. This was a day that was tragic and literally called a calamity. A calamity for a whole host of reasons. It's called a calamity because the Prophet was dying. Indeed, that's a calamity. But it should be called a calamity because of a disrespect that happened to the Prophet as well. It's narrated in Sahih Bukhari. You know what happened? The Prophet is on his deathbed, sallallahu alayhi wa alih, and he begins to say, "Utuni bidawatin wa qurtas, aktuba lakum kitaban lan tadhillu ba'di abada." Give me a pen and paper for goodness sake. I'm dying, so I write you something. You will never go astray. What does the harmony of that hadith remind you of? أكتب لكم كتابا لن تضلوا بعدي أبدا. And then right before on the day of Hajjatul Wada, he said what? إني تارك فيكم الثقلين كتاب الله وعترة أهل بيتي ما إن تمسكتم بهما لن تضلوا بعدي أبدا. So it's in the same harmony. You know what he was going to say. Umar ibn al-Khattab said in Sahih Bukhari, this is narrated by straight reference, that he said قد غلبه الوجع, that he has gone a bit too tired and fatigued. That he's become a bit too ill and fatigued. Do you know what the response is when they do a sharh of this? An-Nawawi in his sharh, he says, in defense of Umar, the Prophet doesn't know how to read and write. So when he's saying, give me a pen and paper so I write something for you, and he's trying to defend him, doesn't know how to read and write. It's like, what's the proof of that? He's like, Quran. Like, which ayah? You never used to write with the book, وَمَا تَخُطَّهُ بِيَمِينِكَ. Okay, you never used to do that. The Quran is saying that you never wrote. Doesn't mean that you don't know. The ummi means you weren't taught. The Prophet who has revelation coming up, down, up, down, up, down, doesn't know alif, ba, ta, tha. 4-year-old right there will know alif, ba, ta, tha. Right here, there's someone else. I saw a 3-year-old somewhere. Right there. I'm sure she knows واحد اثنين alif, ba. But Rasulullah doesn't. You know how disrespectful that is? The Prophet doesn't know how to read and write. But you have to, if you're beholden to it, in a book that has the title Sahih written on top of it. Also, you remember the arbitration between Banu Quraysh, Suhail bin Amr was leading it, and when they were about to enter, what? Bay'at al-Ridwan, they were about to enter Mecca, and they said, we'll make a peace treaty for 10 years between Muslims and Quraysh. The peace treaty has to be signed. The Prophet went and signed and wrote his name. Number one, he wrote his name. There you go. Muhammad Rasulullah. And then they said, Ya Rasulullah, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Said, Ya Rasulullah, if we believed you were Rasulullah, we wouldn't even be fighting you. Erase the Rasul, keep the Allah, keep the Muhammad part. Rasulullah said, fine, I don't mind. Imam Ali, erase Rasulullah and just leave Muhammad. They hit you with this a lot. That when Rasulullah asks for a pen and paper, Umar says no. So what's the big deal? Ali, Rasulullah told him, erase Rasulullah. Ali said no. So both are refusing Rasulullah. Akhi, one is saying, how can I erase Rasulullah when I live for Rasulullah? It hurts me to erase something I'm going to die for. And so Imam Ali, if you even study it, he says, دعني عن ذلك. I ask permission. It is painful, Ya Rasulullah. Can you give me exemption from erasing something I love, something that I love? Rasulullah says, no problem, and he erases it. So if he doesn't know how to read and write, how does he know where Rasul Allah is written? Rasulullah erases it. I mean, it's quite obvious, but common sense is not so common. In this context, he says, give me pen and paper, says, you've been a bit too tired. Sahih Muslim comes and says, that's not what he said. That's not what he said. And there's a reason why I'm not going to narrate from you. Because if you look at Sahih Muslim, he says, after the Prophet mentioned, Utuni bidawatin wa qurtas, give me a pen and paper. Aktub lakum kitaban lan tadhillu ba'di abada. Umar ibn al-Khattab straight up said, that إِنَّ الرَّجُلَ لَيَهْجُرُ, the man has gone delirious. It's a bit too insulting to include it, so there's a little bit of censorship in Bukhari's part. Another case involves when Rasulullah had passed now. When he had passed, Al-Abbas, the uncle of both Imam Ali and Rasulullah, and Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, famous hadith by the way. This one, no matter what you watch from scholars of the non-Shia, the Salafis, you watch them, they begin shaking when they try to defend it. They just begin stuttering. They're like, he meant it like, there's no way to defend this one. Stop trying to defend it because it's just straight up insult. Why can't you just let go of it? I don't understand. Accept what's acceptable, reject what's unacceptable. Why is that so hard? Why are you so beholden? Because if you open that Pandora's box, you're going to have to reject some other ridiculous narrations as well. Why just this one? This one goes as Al-Abbas and Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, alayhum as-salam, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib go to Abu Bakr and they ask him, Ya Abi Bakr, that there was inheritance the Prophet left behind for me and you never gave. So we come to you asking for our haqq. Abu Bakr begins to narrate a unique tradition. He says, you two جئتماني بعدما أتيتما إلى الأول. You come to me after you went to the first Khalifa. And you saw him, وَوَجَدْتُمُوهُ, and you saw him as, Bukhari says, and you saw him as كَذَا وَكَذَا. كَذَا وَكَذَا. You saw him and viewed him as so-and-so. And then after him, you come to me, but you too also see me as كَذَا وَكَذَا. Literally, كَذَا وَكَذَا. What did he say? Is that how we narrate? Just so-and-so? You see me as such? Sahih Muslim adds this hadith. He says, Baba, you can't hide it. Add what he said. Add what he said. So when you read Sahih Muslim without the censorship, it is quite clear that Abu Bakr says to Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib and Al-Abbas that you've come to me asking for inheritance. Umar ibn al-Khattab says, you come to me asking for inheritance. I know you went to Abu Bakr first, but you viewed him as وَوَجَدْتُمَا كَاذِبًا آثِمًا غَادِرًا لِلْحَقِّ. You saw him as treacherous, lying and deceitful. And now جئتماني ورأيتماني كاذبا آثما غاشما للحق. And you also view me in the same way, lying, deceitful, untruthful. The thing is, book number 1 says kada wa kada. Book number 2, keep the same hadith with the same chain, but he actually gives you the details. We, in this life, if it hurts you, it's truth. It doesn't matter. The truth might hurt. You have to still be transparent. You have to be transparent. Imagine today if a scholar comes and sees, you know what, I'm not going to tell you the full detail. I don't trust you can handle this. So I'm not just, the thing is, I would appreciate if you just say, look, maybe this is too much, so I'm not going to share the full detail. But why lie and switch the words with something else? There's no need to have censorship in that manner. That's another issue. There's the censorship aspect that we, for many reasons, can't accept certain ahadith. Censorship. Some might say, oh, you have some of this. Again, Habibi, just because I have some ahadith that resemble akhbar ahad, that might have some oddness, again, I don't call everything sahih. Even if a hadith appears to be very credible, I am still willing to reject it if it rejects the Quran, which leads us to the next point. There are straight up ahadith that refute the Holy Quran. Let me tell you something. The Quran about wudu, what does it say? يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا. What do you do with your face? Wash. غسل. فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق. المرفق is elbow. فاغسلوا. So غسل is where? وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسحوا برؤوسكم. مسح means what? Wipe, swipe, okay? Wipe the head. وامسحوا برؤوسكم, on top of your head. وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين, to the heels. The Quran said مسح. What is 3/4 of the Muslim world doing out of love and respect? غسل. You go to any of these places and they'll put the foot right under the running water. Why are you doing ghasl? What does the Quran say? Masih. The response you get is that we have a Sahih Hadith that says to you that you are allowed to do ghusl and you're allowed to do wiping on top of socks and on top of shoes. You don't have to take off your shoes. You don't have to take off your socks. Just do it on top of that. But wait a minute. If the Quran says something and the Hadith says something else, which one do you prioritize? Which one do you prioritize? The Quran. Al-Haqq al-Mubin. The Quran. But we have a Sahih Hadith. Who cares? We have Sahih Hadith, by the way, that we reject because it refuses to match the Quran. Like what? There's a Hadith. And these are explainable, by the way. You can reject it because it refuses the soul of the Quran, or you can accept it but give it a different meaning. But once again, these are akhbar ahad, which helps you in understanding why these weren't even so much the most legitimate. Like a hadith in al-Kafi. Hadith is sahih. Okay, no offense to anyone who this might relate to. La tankahul akrad. Don't get married to a Kurdi. Like why? Innahum qawmun min al-jinn. They're a group from the jinn. Well, that's not respectful. Well, I have many friends who are from the region of Erbil, from Mosul. Last I checked, they're normal humans, nice people, sweethearts, lovers of Ahlul Bayt, reciters of the Quran. In fact, I know some jinnis here or there. I haven't seen any jinnis over on your side. So what does this mean then? Some might say jinn from that which hides. Because al-janeen, jannah, junoon is something you can't see. So anything that has jim, noon is something that's hidden from you. Jannah, jahannam, you don't see it, right? So qawmun that hide a lot. So you can interpret it and accept it that way. Yeah, sure, no problem. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Brothers and sisters, you see how when we talked about the jinn? I don't want to scare you anymore. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Jinn means those which hide and conceal. Mish hek? Okay. In that case, could we accept this hadith as there's a group of people, they're from the Kurdistan area, they hide themselves. They're part of maybe the nomadic group at that time, maybe they had a belief that was odd. Khalas. But this contradicts an ayah of the Quran. That's what, Inna akramakum indallahi madha? Atqakum. The best among you isn't the Arab, Ajami, isn't the male, the female. Allah made you qaba'il, He made you nations. So Allah acknowledges differences. Sahih? Yeah. So in that case, what happens? Supremacy, superiority? La. So you can interpret it, or you could just say, look, I reject it. Yeah, you could. You could reject it, because ulama have rejected it. But the problem is, if it was called Sahih al-Kafi, because it's not. But the problem is, if it's called Sahih Bukhari, because there are ahadith I can accept, like we said Kisar, like we said many about the Fada'il of Ahlul Bayt. But then you have this issue, brothers and sisters, where you find narrations that are honestly, brothers and sisters, conflicting with the Quran, like with wudu. The Quran said masih, here are many who are washing. Why? Because we have Abu Hurairah saying, okay, fine, Abu Hurairah can say something, but is he a ma'soom? I find it funny. I just told you, accept 12 people as hujjah. You said no, but you accepted 120,000 people as hujjah, besides Ahlul Bayt. All of them are companions, and all of them will never lie deliberately. Ya akhi, he might make an error, just accept that. I'm not hating, I'm not a hater. I'm just saying, look, could he have said, I'll accept the hadith by someone I hate if I know the hadith is true. But I need to know it's truthful because I can retrospect with my hadith as well. That's something something we should all keep in mind and think about. That's another issue. The other problem, brothers and sisters, I hate to say this, but there are ahadith narrated by nawasib and haters of the Ahlul Bayt. Remember how we said in Jamal, there are those who Imam Ali fought, who are narrated in Bukhari and in Muslim and in the major corpus of the non-Shia. That you can understand. You got your Talhas, you got your Zubairs, you got your Aisha, your big narrator. Then you got your Safins. Muawiyah is a huge narrator. You got many people are narrators. But how do you have people in Khawarij, Nahrawan, haters of Ahlul Bayt? How are they narrating? Yeah. What, you never studied Imran bin Hattan? Imran bin Hattan. Imran ibn Hattan is a narrator of ahadith. He is a disciple of Aisha, and he narrates from what he heard to her. Imran ibn Hattan was I've never seen anyone more happy about the dharba on the head of Sayyid al-Shuhada, on the head of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Abu Sayyid al-Shuhada, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayh, then Imran ibn Hattan. Imran was so happy Imam Ali got struck on the 19th of Ramadan. So happy that, you know what he did? He began to recite poetry. You want to know what some of his poems look like? And he's a huge, reliable fiqh in the works. يا ضربة من تقي ما أراد بها إلا ليبلغ من ذي العرش رضوانا إني لأذكره دوما إلى آخره وما شابه. Oh, what a strike from a muttaqi. Bin Muljim, I love that you struck him like this. Ya muttaqi. You only wanted to get to Dhil Arshi, the one of the throne, Allah, through that strike. Blessed was that strike on the head. La'natullah alayk ya Imran ibn Hattan. You strike, see the strike of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, and you write poetry about it? Well, guess what? Killer, hater of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, very reliable, very reliable. I would never lie to you. Truthful, not deceitful, no deception. Honest, truthful, hardworking man. Grade A citizen. Really good. Here's an achievement reward of society for all your services and contributions. Thank you. But you wrote poetry hating Imam Ali and praising the killer. We have a problem with that. Khariji fights Ahlul Bayt. I don't care what you say. Anything that comes out from you is venom and vitriol. We have a problem. I'm not willing to take my deen from someone who fought the deen and the embodiment of the deen of Rasulullah, brothers and sisters. That's another component. The other issue, my dear respected brothers and sisters, are, inshallah I have your attention, are some bizarre ahadith. So, but you have bizarre ahadith as well. Once again. What's the response? That just because we have it doesn't mean we have to embrace it. That's the beauty of tashayyuh. That there are, if you look at Al-Kafi, 16,000 hadiths. By the way, if you collect all the what we describe as the main literature of the non-Shia worldview, may Allah bless them, guide them, protect them. These are our brothers and sisters. We'll stand up for them. But that doesn't mean we have to embrace the literature. Okay? One of the most beautiful examples, just so anyone might have the wrong idea. Don't you love it when you go visit Abi Abdullah al-Hussein in Karbala and you see the Sunni praying by the Shi'i? One of the most beautiful signs of unity and coexistence. I love my Sunni brothers and sisters. I have nothing to them. And I wish them the best, and I'm willing to die for them. My marja called them ourselves, anfusana. And I love them for that reason. But that doesn't mean I have to accept your literature. And in fact, I can accept some parts and I can reject some parts, because to me, the only thing sahih is the Quran al-Kareem. But literature is designed to scrutinize and to be studied. Some bizarre narrations in there, literally the mind cannot accept. For example, you might have the case that narrates very clearly and quite bizarrely that when Jahannam has been filled with people, it's been packed. Jahannam begins to say, so what's speaking? Hellfire. Begins to say, Hal min mazid. Is there anyone else that can get burnt? Who wants to get barbecued? I have some, is there any more room? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is what the hadith says in Sahih Bukhari, so you're incumbent to embracing it if you follow that worldview. فَيَضَعْ الرَّحْمَنِ قَدَمَهُ. Allah then places his foot into hellfire, and then hell begins to say, Quf, now I'm really full. Anthropomorphism should not exist in our deen as Muslims, brothers and sisters. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد ليس كمثله شيء ولا تضرب له الأمثال. Don't bring any examples akin to you as human beings towards Allah. Allah is nothing like him. Should he have his leg in hellfire? What do you mean he puts his leg and then jumps? Like, stop, I'm full. Or the Sahih Hadith that the seasons and the changing from summer to winter is because one of them, Allah takes a deep breath. A Jahannam takes a deep breath, and that becomes winter. And then Jahannam excels, and that becomes summer. The fly that falls into your food, eat the fly with the food, because on one half of the wing is medicine and the other half is disease. But the medicine always overpowers the disease. A she-monkey committed adultery. Her husband, look at the ghira of some monkeys, subhanAllah. Her husband was so upset that he got his crew and they stoned her. The monkey has more dignity sometimes than some people. They stone her because of the adultery. That I am not here to make laughing points. Wallah, I'm not. But if you're going to raise people saying you are kuffar for rejecting this, then I'm going to have to point back at some things I find problematic. Al-Imam al-Juwayni, the Imam of the Haramain of around the year 487 of after Hijrah. He's the Imam of the Haramain. He says, لو أن, if someone does an oath and swears by Allah that, Ya Allah, I'll be divorced if anything in the Sahih works is wrong, they would not be divorced. What is that to say? Ya Allah, divorce me from my wife if anything is wrong in these two. It is to say that this is completely Sahih, that I'm willing to put my marriage on the line. This is Sahih. And why? By whose standards? Who makes it Sahih? They say the ijma' of the ummah. Ijma'. The funny thing is, even if you ask the scholarship, my dear respected brothers and sisters over here, even if you ask the scholarship, is it all Sahih? Many of the brothers and sisters from the non-Shia will tell you no. Who was the first to tell you no? The first to tell you no was Sahih Muslim himself. He's like, you're narrating things that are not exactly true, I have to fix it now. He's the first. Why do I have to follow if his own student said no? And he doesn't even find it worthy to narrate a single hadith by him. Another, Ad-Dar al-Qutni from Baghdad. He's a scholar contemporary to Bukhari. He wrote a book called Al-Ilzamat wa Tatabbu'. Al-Ilzamat wa Tatabbu'. In it he says there are 200 hadiths from the Sahihain. 90 from Bukhari, 110 from Sahih Muslim that are all incorrect. 200. Those are classical scholars. Contemporary scholars, there are certain ulama from Ahlul Sunnah who will tell you not everything is true Sahih. One of the first is Al-Albani. You know how famous Al-Albani is? From Albania. He's very famous. He comes and says there are a couple of hadith that are not true in Sahih Bukhari. It's not Sahih in my standard. So how could you say the ijma'? Ijma' means consensus. If one is off, there's no ijma' then. So you got classical and you got contemporary. And what about the Shia? We don't accept it. Like, how you're not part of the ummah. Oh, okay, because you made kufr of us in that. That answers that one right there. Given all of these brothers and sisters in the school of Ahlul Bayt, to us, we can appreciate traditions that are legitimate, that we can confirm, we can vouch, we can verify, and we hold ourselves to the same standard. If anything is bizarre like this, we have to analyze it. Do you know what the process is? It's such a beautiful process. We look at a hadith and we say, hey, do you match the Quran? That's the number one process. Sahih, Da'if, Hasan, Muwathaq, Wada', anything, whatever the status of the hadith is, do you match the Quran? Because our mi'yar and our axis is the Quran al-Kareem. Because we are a school built on the love of the Holy Quran. If you reject the Quran in any capacity, ya hadith, I don't care if it's sahih, I refuse you. Another thing is, we said this book was written in whose lifetime? Which Imam? Close to Imam al-Hujjah. Ajrullahu ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif. You would think he got a hadith by Imam al-Askari, right? No. Okay, maybe that's because he's too close to his time. Maybe he didn't. So he got hadiths from Imam al-Hadi, Ali al-Hadi salawatullah. No, not a single hadith. Of course, Imam al-Jawad, not a single hadith. No, of course, he has a hadith by Imam al-Rida. How could you not hadith by Imam al-Rida? Imam al-Rida, Ma'mun brought him, he became famous. Not a single hadith by Imam al-Rida. Al-Kadhim, not a single hadith by Imam al-Kadhim. He has to have a hadith by Imam al-Sadiq. Al-Sadiq, the teacher of his madhahib. Abu Hanifa's teacher, Malik ibn Anas' teacher. Wait a minute. Abu Hanifa and Malik, they were also the teachers of Al-Imam al-Shafi'i, Muhammad bin Idris. And Muhammad bin Idris al-Shafi'i is the teacher of Ahmad ibn Hanbal. And so Imam al-Sadiq is a big deal when it comes to students and the relation of all these. So he has to have a narration from Imam al-Sadiq. I mean, surely in the Shia corpus, he has over 20,000, not a single hadith. Yeah, because Imam Sadiq has never had anything to say. When one of the students says, لَوْلَا السَّنَتَانْ لَهَلَكَ النُّعْمَانِ, and Nu'man bin Thabit is Abu Hanifa. Had it not been for those 2 years I studied with him in Kufa, I would have perished. I don't want to add you have nothing to add. I can't verify if you're being truthful, Ya Sadiq al Muhammad. Ya Sadiq, if you're being truthful. Interesting. He must have a hadith by Imam al-Baqir? Nope. What about a hadith by Imam Zayn al-Abidin? Yes. Yay, the first hadith. You rather should cry. He only gives 2 ahadith by Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam. I was like, good, at least, no, ya right, he didn't add this hadith because it's lies. What were the hadith? Hadith number 1 by Imam Zayn Abidin in Sahih Bukhari. Look how much he loves the Ahlul Bayt. He says one day Rasulullah was walking by the house of Imam Ali and Sayyid Zahra as they were sleeping during Salat al-Fajr. And he says to them, Ya Ahl Bayt al-Nubuwwah, wake up for Salah. Imam Ali wakes up and he says, why'd you wake me up? Why'd you wake me up? And he starts fighting with the Prophet. You shouldn't have woken me up. Did you know that? Imam Ali is talking to Rasulullah like this. Did you know that it's not wajib for a person to pray if they're asleep? What happened to Islam all of a sudden? That's one hadith. The second hadith these are fake by the way. The second hadith supposedly by Imam Zayn al-Abidin Ali ibn al-Husayn is, I don't know what his problem is with Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, although maybe I can guess, is that when Imam Ali and Rasulullah and Hamza entered Medina after doing the hijrah from Mecca to Medina, Hamza, this is not true, so don't get me wrong, some people might misunderstand, began to drink. Became so drunk, he began to slaughter a camel he saw. Slaughters the camel. Imam Ali got mad because that was his camel. And so Imam Ali's like, that's my camel, you just killed it. And so Hamza begins to fight with Imam Ali. Rasulullah interferes. He's like, why are you guys fighting? Hamza looks at both Rasulullah and Imam Ali and says, both of you are my slaves. This is a hadith you want to put in your akhlaq. And that's what Imam Zayn al-Abidin, the treasure chest that he is. Makarim al-akhlaq, Sahif al-Sajjadiyya, Risalat al-Huquq. You couldn't find anything but this? And also, guess what? He has a couple hadith by Imam al-Hussein, skips Imam al-Hassan. Not a single hadith, 20 or so by Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, 1 by Fatima al-Zahra, and that's it. It's like Ahlul Bayt didn't even know the Prophet. It's like the Prophet said, don't take from my Ahlul Bayt. Don't take from them. And it's like, brothers and sisters, the Prophet said, oh Muslimun, hurt my Ahlul Bayt. The Prophet said, hold on, give me pen and paper, stay firm to the rope of the Al-Muhammad, love them, minni wa ana minhum, man adahum faqad adani. It's like he never said all that. It's like he said, kill them. It's like he said, slaughter them. And it's like he said, trample, get those horses to trample over their bodies. Because on the 10th of Muharram, as we see today, brothers and sisters, you have many of those who were there to witness, among them Hamid bin Muslim. Hamid was a journalist. And after the tragic occasion of the slaughtering, of the brutal killing of Imam al-Hussein salawatullahi alayh, you find the moment where they want to add insult onto injury. Shimr ibn Dhul Jawshan tells Umar ibn Sa'ad that we now need to make a statement. Says what? I need you to now get the horses who we've sharpened their hooves. The hooves have been sharpened. And have them trample over the chest of the opposition. They said, who do you want us to trample over first? He says, the one who backstabbed us. Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. The thing is, they had already taken his body away. That's why if you go to Karbala, Imam Hussein and the Shuhada are in one area. Hurr is where? About a few kilometers away. Banu Riyaha said, no. We're going to take him away so you don't kill him and hurt him and insult the body further. Shimr ibn Dhul Jawshan said that that's not a problem. Habib ibn Mudahir al-Asadi al-Kufi. He's from the people of Kufa. He was supposed to join Ibn Ziyad with us. He betrayed the promise. As a result, horse riders trample his body. Of course, the response from Banu Asad, who had many to represent them on that day, said that's not going to happen. This is just after, brothers and sisters, they had ransacked Imam Hussein's body and looted from him. Salamullah ta'ala alayh. One of them came and stole the imama of Imam al-Hussein, which is the imama of Rasulullah. The other one tried to take a piece of the armor. One of them saw a ring on Imam al-Hussein's finger. Bi-abi huwa wa ummi. And he tried to rip it out. But he tried and it was stuck. It was stuck. So he grabbed the dagger and he severed the finger of Imam al-Hussein. The blessed finger, just to get the ring from Abu Abdullah. Brothers and sisters, Al-Imam al-Sadiq says, of course, now that we're on the 10th, the next 2 nights are important. Emphasize the azah now. He says, may Allah bless the person who did either baka or tabaka. Baka means you cry. Tabaka means if no tear is shed, at least lower the head. At least show some respect. Sahib al-Zaman is crying. It's about decorum. It's about that which shows that, look, I'm with you. My heart is broken for you. Because these lines are not easy to utter. They're difficult, they are painful. Says, I wanted the ring and I couldn't, so I severed his finger. It's like at that moment, they began to loot his holy body. When that happened, they begin to go one by one. How about you trample over the body of Muslim ibn Awsaja? Says, no, he's from the Banu Asad as well. His family will not accept this. After the other, one by one. In fact, they said, Wahab, there were Christians on the side of Umar ibn Sa'd. They said, no, he's one of ours. Do not trample over his body. Until he says, let's now trample over the bodies of the family of Hussein. Trample over the body of Ali al-Akbar. Ali al-Akbar was the first to fight. Horse riders of Allah trample over his body. Ali al-Akbar's mother Layla was the granddaughter of Abu Sufyan, making her first cousins with Yazid, and so they said the Amir will not like this. So then trample over the body of the young 13-year-old boy Al-Qasim, because he came through and killed some of our men. Add insult onto injury. Qasim's mother was from the family of the Fizari. Banu Fizara was already on the side of the opposition, so they refused to do so. And then he said, trample over the one by the Furat. He lays down without his hands. I need you to insult him further. Horse riders of Allah trample over the body of Abul Fadl al-Abbas. But then they told him that Shimar ibn Dhil Jawshan is al-Banin's first cousin. She is from the Kilabi family, as she is Fatima ibn Hizam al-Kilabiyya. And Shimar is from the family of Banu Kilab as well. And so we will not let you do so. Shimar does not approve of this. One by one they went through all the companions of Abu Abdullah, and they went through all of his family until Umar ibn Sa'ad said, whose body lay on the ground, whose mother doesn't have anyone to represent him. This is why he is called Gharib. Or his father has no one to represent him. Where is the Gharib al-Ghadariya? They said only one body lay on the ground, the body of Abi Abdullah al-Husayn. He then said, Ya khiyul Allah, irkabi wa dusi ala sadr al-Husayn. And they all began to march, and they began to kick the body of Abu Abdullah. As Sayyida Zainab says to Imam Zayn al-Abidin, I hear something snapping and breaking, my nephew. He says, oh Auntie Zainab, those are the sounds of the back of Abu Abdullah, my father. Wa Husayna, if you go to Karbala, you see the madbah where Imam was killed is different from where he is buried. That's because of the hooves of Bani Umayyah kicking him. Wa Husayna.